Hi everyone, I'm Bill Griggs, and I'm about to open up a brand new tool from Tormach, and this is the Rapidturn. It's a combination device that you put on the mill that allows you to do turning. It allows you to do turning and indexing and a few other really cool things, and we're going to check it out. I've already removed the packing straps using the old tin snips, and now we're just going to take off the cover and get a look inside. Okay, I'm going to take off the lid, and this is a pretty sturdy box, plywood. First thing you get is your certificate of inspection. I think this is the plexiglass shield, chip shield. This is the tube for this is the tube for the collets for tightening it down. It's a few cables, the Rapidturn itself. Okay, the plastic bag has got a zip tie on it. It's holding it closed. Really kind of neat. Okay, so it looks like you've got to undo the bolts in order to remove the plastic bag, or just rip the bag. I'm just going to rip the bag. Okay, the first thing that I noticed so far is that there's not a lot of grease all over everything like there has been on the previous machines. The grease, that big red grease, seems to be limited to just the areas that are actually steel. So the aluminum parts aren't covered with grease, which makes me a lot happier because there's a lot less cleanup involved with this. So let's continue. Alright, this is the draw tube for the collets. Got a set of wrenches. I'm sure that'll come in handy. It's a set of 3 T-nuts to hold the Rapidturn onto the milling table. and I'm sure that's used to tighten the chuck somehow, or some other part of the system that I haven't gotten to yet. Got two cables here. One is the power cable, and the other one is the speed sensor cable. Actually, I'm going to keep that together. Well, that should answer the question of whether you can lift the Rapidturn on your own. It's not light, but it's not you know, unmanageable weight-wise. This is the back end, and you have to remove these nuts in order to get the cover off, so you can adjust the timing belts. The welding's pretty good in here. The powder coating is really good too. So you can see this has 2 speeds on the belt, and there's a inner pulley and an outer pulley. I'm not sure right now if it's set for high or low speed. I'll have to look in the manual to find that out. You can also see where the draw tube goes in, where you'd slide that in, so you put your collet on the other side. I think they're C5 collets. You can also see the indexer plate, which is unlocked right now. But you could rotate it around and then lock it in place. And that's in the lock position. It's kind of tight, and that's the unlock position. It's a very positive lock. There's 2 bolts that hold this motor bracket on, and we're going to have to loosen those both up, and you use a 13mm wrench to do that, and that allows you to take it off and make your adjustments. Now loosen the belt. And slide it over that way, and then up off. You're taking the motor off. Okay, to get the Rapidturn off the base, we gotta loosen up the bolts. This one I already started it is in a pretty strange location as far as I'm concerned. I don't know what they were thinking when they put it this close to the base leg. It's kind of not the easiest place to get to. But it does work. Let's see if I get in the back one loose. We'll get back to, we got the first two bolts off, and then there's one in the front of the machine. I'll give you a quick look at the bottom of the base. It has a fixed alignment pin that goes in the center slot of the T-track table, and this eccentric pin, which you can adjust by loosening the bolt on the other side and twisting it, and that will help align the face of the lathe with the axes. One thing that's interesting about this base that they send you, that it was mounted to, is it has the mounting holes drilled into it. So if you wanted to make a template, it might not be a bad idea in case you ever decided to do any modifications. You'd have all the hole locations for all the major components lined up for you. The Rapidturn headstock isn't very heavy. In fact, you know, you could probably get by with lifting it with one hand. However, when you add the motor to it, you know, it gets up into probably the 50-pound range, 60-pound range. Then you want to use you know, a little more respect for it, a little more caution. So, you know, just be advised when you combine the motor and the headstock that it, you know, it does weigh quite a bit. I think if you were to use this frequently and you were going to be pulling it in and out of the machine, you'd want to split it apart like I did here, so that you have both the headstock and the motor separate. You know, so you can put the motor on after you get it inside the machine.